way back in 1980, Father Egidio Vigano, the then Rector Major, launched Project Africa of the Salesian congregation. It was a clarion call to Salesian India to send missionaries to East Africa, particularly to Kenya, Tanzania, and Sudan. The Salesian mission of Korr in the heart of the Kaisu Desert was perhaps the most striking response to that call. The Salesians were joined by the Nirmala Dasi sisters from Trichur, Kerala, India in 1983. Together and tirelessly, they have striven these many years to uplift the people, especially those of the Samburu and the Rendire tribes. Heeding the call of the Lord to leave home and family and to move on to a place that I will show you, these Salesians left their home and their dear ones and traveled to Korr, to a land they had never seen before, challenged to learn a language they had never heard before, eat the food they had never tasted before. Willing to follow him who had no place to lay his head, with a smile on their face, to take the gospel to a people not their own. To suffer the cold and the heat, hunger and thirst for the sake of the kingdom. To be signs and bearers of God's love, in imitation of Don Bosco. To be a Salesian missionary. They befriended the nomads and the pastoralists, forming an extended family with these unknown people. The Salesian houses they built became indeed homes that welcomed, a place to feel at home, a school to learn life's lessons, and a chapel to encounter God and to experience His love. They went willingly to prepare the field, plow the ground, sow the seeds, and to wait. Wait till in His time, according to His will, the harvest would be ready to be harvested. To multiply the crops, they initiated experiential formation of the faith bearers to go into the village to spread the good news, travel miles to nurture the weak, console the distressed, teach the little ones, to forgive sins, and above all, to break the word and the bread in a tiny chapel, in a ramshackle shed, in a humble classroom, or even under a tree, and to wait for the Lord to give the growth with infinite trust in the providence. A true Salesian missionary. A Salesian missionary is primarily an educator, forming minds and shaping hearts, and turning remote village schools into centers of learning, providing boarding and lodging in hostels for the needy, giving study materials, accompanying the teachers in their challenging task, and ensuring quality, providing children with food so that they don't drop out, encouraging them to preserve their indigenous culture through singing and dancing. The missionary is a radical servant of all. He is always on the move. A man with dusty sandals and with the heart of the good shepherd. He seeks out the lost, the abandoned and the weak. Like the divine physician, he cares for the sick, nourishes the undernourished, binds up the wounded, heals the blind and the dumb, feeds the hungry and clothes the naked. The Salesian missionary, who sits in the dust with the children to tell them they are loved, to encourage, to motivate, and to assure them of a future. To make them develop a healthy mind and a healthy soul in a healthy body through sports and games, and to seek cheer in music and songs. And to rejoice in the Lord always, and to look up to heaven, where there is always help for the one who believes, and who himself, at the end of the day, looks up to heaven with gratitude, knowing full well that not one is lost of those who had been entrusted in his care. God wants a Salesian missionary with a strong will and a vision to withstand the challenges and to envision a future. He draws his strength, his joy and his optimism from being in union with God, like Don Bosco. He is not to be a hireling who leaves when the going gets tougher, when hit by droughts and consequent famine, when the wells run dry and the people walk miles for water, when the water has to be rationed to the animals and to the people, when food becomes scarce. He does not run, but stays with his flock, day in and day out, through thick and thin. He smells the smell of the sheep. God still needs true missionaries to reach the still unreached and to continue the one-started missions. Missionaries who are compassionate, brave, free from fear, and girded by truth and justice. Those truly reflecting His own all-embracing, compassionate heart. Yet they too are formed from the dust of the earth. They carry these treasures in earthen vessels. They too walk on feet of clay. They too need to be sustained by prayers so that they can remain committed, generous, and maybe genuine witnesses of His love. Would you like to be a missionary? It is not all about traveling to distant lands or walking dusty roads. It is but a question of opening your heart to others, of having a place in it for all. To be like Saint Teresa of Child Jesus, the great patroness of the missions, who never left the convent, but who longed to be always love in the heart of the church. The choice is yours. The time is now. Be a witness. Be a sign and bearer of God's love to His less favored children.